Up there at the beginning of the week. In fact, the wettest place on any one day was last Saturday, but not in fact in Northern Ireland, but down on the south coast of England at Worthing, where there were just over 2¼ inches of rain, some 58 millimetres. The wet and windy weather continued for Sunday. In fact, in the early hours of the morning, just down the coast, Hurstmonceux Castle, just after 4 o'clock in the morning, there was a gust of wind to 98 miles per hour, and that's thought to have been possibly brought about by a short-lived tornado. Well, all that unsettled, wet and windy weather wasn't just affecting us, but also particularly parts of France, where they had some really quite horrendous weather for a time during Monday. And it was a strong jet stream blowing across the top of the Atlantic that was responsible. Now, this is a core of very strong winds, nowhere near the surface, but well up, about the same level that the jetliners use. In fact, because it was blowing them along, it meant that some of the transatlantic flights from the States were arriving up to an hour early during the end of last weekend. But then as we went into the middle of the week, that jet stream began to buckle, and it formed, well, virtually the shape of the Greek letter omega. That's that black line that you can see here. And that gives its name to the omega block that we weather forecasters sometimes talk about. That's that particular arrangement of low, high and low pressure. And it doesn't really want to move, it's quite a static pattern. And of course that's meant for us in particular a run of showery, cold, northerly winds over the last few days. And for the most part at this time of year, most of the showers are set off over the top of the sea. You can see that here, I think, on the satellite picture. A little line of showers there coming down through parts of the southern Irish Sea. Lots of showers too generally around the coast, particularly on the eastern side. You can see that as well on the rainfall radar. Most of the showers in the west are now actually just going away from the coastline, mainly over the sea areas, but there have been showers today over many eastern areas and up in Scotland as well. The last few of those showers in inland areas should soon begin to clear away, and for most of us inland, away from the coast, it'll be a cold, dry and clear night. Most of the showers mainly around the northern and eastern coastlines, and up over the higher ground, particularly in parts of Scotland, we could still see some snow mixed in with those showers above about 1,500 feet. Because it's going to be another cold night, temperatures getting down to give a fairly sharp frost in some parts of Scotland, and there will be a frost in many western and northern areas. Though around that eastern area, I think temperatures probably staying about 2 to 4 degrees above the freezing level. Well, that high pressure won't have moved very far tomorrow. It'll still be sat there, continuing to pull those cold northerly winds down with it. But most of the strength of the wind's going to be on the eastern side of the country, and I think it'll be noticeably less windy tomorrow, particularly in much of Scotland. Now, the showers coming in off the sea, brought by those winds, starting off around the northern and eastern coastlines, some of them up in northern Scotland probably disappearing during the day, and many central and western areas will be bright and fairly sunny, but it'll still be quite cold with most of the showers on the east and some getting into the southeast too. Little change in the weather picture on Monday, so still most of the showers on that eastern and southeastern corner of the country, plenty of early frost and fog, but sunny weather during the day in the west.
Well, there's some comments from Alpha to Omega on television from East and West from Saturday night's Clive James at 10 to 9 here on BBC Two. Between now and then, we join listeners to Radio 3 in stereo for the first act of Siegfried from The Ring of the Nibelung by Wagner.
Wotan, the ruler of the gods, has begun to realize that the decline of the gods is inevitable. He has been forced to ensure the death of his heroic son Sigmund, and strip his favourite daughter Brunhilde the Valkyrie of her godhead. He has left her asleep on a mountain peak, surrounded by a wall of flame, in the certainty that only a hero will defy this danger to win her. Meanwhile, the ring and the stolen gold is still guarded by the giant Fafnir, who has turned himself into a dragon. Sieglinde has given birth to Siegfried, for whom much is prophesied. But from now on, Wotan must stand back and let fate take its course.